Hey everybody, welcome back to the Cabral Concept. So glad you could make it here today. We'll go over our Cabral house calls as we always do every Saturday and Sunday, getting to our community's questions, answering about 10 questions or so each and every weekend. Can't wait to see what we have in store today. As I always say, the questions are new to me, they're new to you. I'm opening up the document right now and let's dive right in. All things wellness, weight loss, weight gain, anti-aging, high performance health. First question is from, let's see here, literally just opening it right now, Patrick. Patrick says, hey doc, this question is from my mom. She's in her mid-70s right now. Just about all of her meals are processed food. Her breakfast and lunch are usually French toast sticks and waffles. She believes she's getting her nutrition from that because of the marketing and labels saying how much protein and vitamins are in them. Her dinners are about the same, being a frozen dinner with a few vegetables in it. Can you just go over how it's all marketing and this isn't healthy at all? I look forward to your answer so I can listen to it with her. Thanks for all you do. Patrick, happy to help without a doubt. I mean, my parents are in their 70s as well. You know, when you look at it, nutrition becomes even more important after the age of 55, 60. And that's because the body becomes more catabolic. That means it's not rebuilding and building up as it once was as we were younger, specifically more in our 20s and 30s, even early 30s. And then the scale starts to tip. So here's the thing. When you eat the French toast sticks and the waffles and those types of things, it's saying certain things like it has this much protein or this much fiber or whatever it might be. But the truth is these are processed foods. And so what I would say is overall, if you can't see it growing in nature, then it is going to cause a lot of inflammation in your body. That's the easiest way to state it. Now, there are some exceptions, of course, but let's say you do have frozen foods. Well, frozen foods that would be okay would be like frozen vegetables without all the oils and everything on them, right? What else would be okay? Frozen fruit. Right? If you can't always get fresh fruit or access to fresh fruit and you want to put frozen mangoes or frozen, organic blueberries in a smoothie, amazing. You can do that. But when it comes to these frozen dinners, here's the issue. They are typically wrapped in plastic. You're microwaving them oftentimes in plastic. Those microplastics are going right into the food. Not good, right? Sometimes VOCs and other chemicals. Plus, these foods are highly processed. They are going to spike your blood sugar. They're going to create inflammation, and all of this inflammation eventually can lead to dis-ease in the body. So the other big thing is this. Sure, there's some vitamins, there's some minerals, but nowhere near what the human body needs that it gets from brightly colored fruits and veggies, and then good quality proteins such as chicken and fish and eggs and maybe legumes. So here's the thing. Are there macronutrients, protein, fiber, and carbs, or protein, fiber, and fat? Yes. Is a lot of that inflammatory oils, right? And processed wheat flours like the French toast sticks and waffles. Yeah, that part is not good. So yes, they can say you're getting protein, but it doesn't even mean that it's a good quality source. And a lot of these things are going to spike blood sugar and they're going to spike inflammation, which ages the body much faster. So after the age of 60, we need to start to prioritize protein a little bit more. It doesn't mean that you need 1 gram per pound of body weight. That's not what it means. But it means that we need to get a little bit more from good quality sources, plus 30 plus grams of fiber a day, plus 7 to 9 servings in fruits and veggies every day. All right. So Patrick, hopefully that was helpful. Again, everybody does the best that they can, but as we get new information, new knowledge, we just want to try getting a little bit better. So maybe the breakfast stays the same for now, but we improve the dinner. Or maybe we improve the breakfast and we just make a smoothie, or we make oatmeal. Like even that would be definitely oats from nature. Add some cinnamon to it, add some wild blueberries on top, maybe mix in some DNS or protein powder, whatever you want. Okay, easy. Like these don't have to be expensive. It could even be an instant organic oatmeal if you wanted to. Not as great as like stale cut, but we're trying to get better step by step, not necessarily all at once. All right. Hopefully that was helpful. Thanks for writing in. Susan's up next. Thanks for all you do. Love your podcast. My question, you talk a lot about sauna. Just make sure I'm recording here. You talk a lot about sauna, sweating, and detox. I have a real intolerance for heat. It's been really noticeable in the last few years. I was never much of a sweater, even playing a lot of tennis. I'm more likely to overheat, turn all shades of color, but rarely do I drip sweat. On rare occasions, tolerate an infrared sauna, but I usually can't wait to get out of there. Years ago, I did a genetic test, and there were indications that I don't detox well. Wonder if that's involved. Also, I have Crohn's and a subtotal colectomy. I don't know if that's spelled perfectly correct, but that's okay, no issues. Just over 6 years ago. It was definitely been worse over the last 5 years for sure. I'm a 65-year-old female. Can a sauna actually ever be not a good thing to do? Gut health may never be great. Okay, so, there's so much we can do here. So first things first, we want to get the detox system working properly. People that don't sweat, I've worked with many of them in my practice, no doubt about it, can often be in a real fight, flight, freeze state where the body's pulling into the parasympathetic. That is not uncommon. The body's not sweating as well. Sometimes it's an imbalance in electrolytes. The body's not willing to give out a lot of that sodium, right? So first things we can do is we can wake up and we can do a nice electrolyte drink in the morning. So what I do the daily fruit and vegetable blend. You can even add regular green juice if you want to it. I add in some sea salt, and I add in a squeeze of lime. It's super easy. If you prefer an electrolyte solution, you're welcome to. Don't go with the super high sodium one. Go with like a 2 to 3, maybe just a little bit more ratio of sodium to potassium. And I think that would be great. And then again, I always like to get some natural greens in there, like the daily fruit and vegetable blend, but that'll be your choice. Okay, so we want to get that into the body, hydrate the body as well. If you're not drinking half your body weight in ounces of water per day, that can be your greens drinks, it can be your smoothies, fruits, veggies, all these things, then you need to give your body enough hydration to say, okay, we're willing to sweat more. And then whatever the inflammatory based condition is, there's obviously Crohn's and other issues, we need to work on the gut. I would run the big 3 gut bundle to find out your food sensitivities, yeast overgrowth, bacterial overgrowth, parasites. All of those can be found in those big 3. You'll find that at stephencabral.com/shop. That's where all of our clinical labs and clinical nutritional supplement formulas are. All right, so let's start there. And then with sauna, lower heat, less time, and work your body up. That's it. Literally, at my clinic in Boston, we used to have people go in for 5 minutes. That's it. They would just literally test it out, 130 degrees, 5 minutes. And you're like, is that okay? Great. Do it again that week, 130 degrees, 5 minutes, no problem. Next week, same temperature, increase the time. Once we got the time to 20 minutes, then we increase the temperature. All right. So little by little, we're kind of phasing up the body. All right, Anne is up next. Anne says, quick question. I realize I won't get the answer this time or in time, but I'll be ready for next time. When you have a virus, coughing, sinus, headaches, is that a good time to start the 7-day detox? Would the detox help to get rid of the virus faster? And if so, is it wise to stop the protocol you are on at the time and just do the detox? Okay, really great question. So let's say you're doing the CBO protocol or the heavy metal detox. No, don't stop them. You can do the 7-day detox concurrently while doing a CBO protocol, a heavy metal detox, a mold detox, or really any of the others. So no issues at all. So now let's answer the other question. A virus, let's just call it a virus. Let's not say the headaches and sinus and coughing because that could come with the virus, right? So would it be great to then do a detox during that? My answer is typically no. Give the body everything that it needs. The extra vitamin C, the extra zinc, the vitamin D3, all the other nutrients that you might need. I talk about them on the virus protocol based podcast that I did. So yeah, I would typically say, no, wait a couple weeks, get the body back strong enough, then you can do the detox. It's not a bad thing because like sometimes if you get really sick, you fast anyway, right? And so could you just build in then the first 2 fasting days with just the DNS? Yes. So it's not that you can't, there's not a wrong way to do it, but if the body's not strong, you're feeling weak, you just eat lightly, soups, smoothies, bone broth, all of those things are fine if they work for you, when you're just kind of trying to nourish your body without heavy foods. Okay. So I know there's a little bit of both, but that's because there's nuance to it. There's a little bit of wiggle room for you to do what's best for your body. And again, if there's ever a follow-up question, you can ask at cabralsupportgroup.com as well. We'll answer that same day. All right. Anne's up next. Same Anne, I think. Is it the same Anne? Same Anne. All right. In November, while watching a play, I felt a stinging sensation and pain and hotness and swelling on my right hand. I could see a small puncture hole and figured something bit me. I kept checking my throat to make sure it was nothing serious. I took a Benadryl in the next few nights, then forgot about it. Months later, I asked my doctor to check it and had an x-ray which showed a bone not attached to anything. Doesn't hurt now, but it seems to be getting bigger. It's off to the right of my pinky knuckle. Is it possible that my body calcified the poison from the bite or turned into a bone? It's crazy. What are your thoughts? Leave it, question mark, remove it, question mark. Wish I could insert the x-ray for you to see here. Thanks for listening. I always appreciate your advice. Yeah, happy to answer this. And this is not, I know it seems crazy. I totally get it. And it is actually kind of crazy, right? But it's amazing that the human body does this. So here's what I want to share with you. The human body doesn't turn a poison into bone, and I don't think that you're asking that. I just kind of want to state that in general. But what does happen is that if something got in there, the body can actually wall it off with calcium, like calcification. Literally what it is. It's called exostosis. Yes, exostosis. I'm like trying to recall that in the memory bank. And it's basically like, yeah, it's creating bone. It's literally creating bone there. Calcium, right? Calcium in our bones, calcification of an area. And this happens in response sometimes to an inflammatory source in the body. So it can happen with a splinter. It could happen potentially with an insect bite. So something most likely got in there, don't know if it was an insect, or you got a little piece of glass in there, you got a little piece of wood, fiberglass, and then it started to create this calcium or not. Now here's the issue. Again, I don't know if this is if it's growing or not. If it's growing, then you'll need to watch that with your doctor medically to make sure it doesn't continue to grow. Because once it's been walled off, it shouldn't continue to grow. If it's continuing to grow, definitely do an MRI, an ultrasound, work with your doctor to see if it's a cyst or something else that might be growing, and then you'll of course have to work with an orthopedic specialist to go from there. All right. So thank you for writing in. Not uncommon. Sounds like exactly what you alluded to. There's a calcification, there's a walling off of whatever got into your body, and the body does that safely. And so as long as it's not harming you in any way, now it can be removed. Literally, an orthopedic surgeon could go in, small slice of the skin, take out that calcification, small stitches back up, and you're good to go. But if you don't need that done, again, if it was me, I can't give medical advice, medical treatment plans, medical cures, medical diagnosis. If it was me, I would basically just say, we're just going to keep it. Like we're just, we're going with it. And if there's no issue, there's no abrasion, there's no pain, then I'm not going to have the surgery. Again, it's minor surgery, probably no antibiotics needed, but something to at least think about. All right, let's see. We've got another question from an Ann, but this Ann is different. All right, so let's see what this Ann says. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I've heard you mention various ways to use both the universal binder and the daily digestive enzyme outside of a detox or specific protocols. Can you give us a list of other ways to use them and the dosing, for example, of how to use the universal binder if you think you ate something that isn't agreeing with you or before a flex meal? Thank you. I and the entire community appreciate you. Thank you, Ann. That's very nice of you. I appreciate that. So yeah, let's go over it. The universal binder, for people that don't know what that is, again, it's formulated by Equilife, myself, my team. It's meant to be a low histamine, easy on the immune system, basically not activating histamines and cytokines and all of the aggravated mast cells when you take a lot of activated charcoal. Instead, or just say charcoal, this contains bentonite clay, fulvic acid, humic acid, apple pectin, silica, TUDCA, and some activated charcoal from burnt coconut hulls. And that's basically the cleanest way to get charcoal. Okay, so typically when you're on, let's say, the mold mycotoxins protocol, you're going to take 2 of those binders upon waking or before bed. And so that's pretty standard. And so you're just going to bind up when you move mycotoxins through the liver or heavy metals, you're going to bind these up as the liver dumps them into the intestines. That's standard. Like that works great. But let's say, how do I use them? Right now, I'm not on any protocols. Every year, do I do a heavy metal detox? I absolutely do. It's 8 weeks, so it's 2 months out of 12. That's it. Do I do a mold every year? No, not necessarily, unless I've been exposed to mold. Do I do a parasite every year? Yes, once a year. So that's 8 weeks. So there's 4 months of the year that I'm definitely using it, right? But I'm not doing a CBO, I'm not doing a mold because I'm good. My gut's good and I'm not exposed to mold. Okay, so here's then how I use it as well. If I'm doing I wrote about in the rain barrel effect, a self-care Saturday or self-care Sunday, where I'm going to do a rebounding, or typically I'm doing more, I actually love rebounding, so I'll do that anytime, but I'm doing an abhyanga massage or dry brush and the sauna and the coffee enema, then I'm going to use the binders before I do start the dry brush and the sauna. Okay, 2 of those. If I'm going to go out, which it would be a super rare occasion for me to drink alcohol now, that's the truth. I just don't I just don't drink at all anymore, at all. And the reason is, it's like, I don't think that there's any piety in it. Like, I'm not doing that to say like, oh, look at me, I'm not drinking alcohol. Since I never drink anymore, when I do drink, I feel it like literally right away. I mean, and I don't drink enough to like get that, that happy feeling. So it's like, what is the point? Like, what am I doing? But it's every once in a while, I'll be at a wedding or a special occasion, and sure, I'll have half a glass of, wine or whatever it might be. And if there's a cheat meal involved with that or flex meal, I definitely take 30 minutes before that. So without a doubt, yes, I take it then, without a doubt. And so those are the main ways that I use that. The daily digestive enzymes, I don't use those as much, except if someone has skin rashes, specifically psoriasis, I will have them take 2 to 4 of those upon waking, but we're also usually using the fluorofilm and or proteolytic enzymes, because until we heal and seal that gut wall with the CBO protocol and the CBO finisher, we are getting rid of anything that's in that bloodstream. So I'm using enzyme-based therapy, first talked about, I could go way back to Emmanuel Ravici, but then used by Dr. Donald William Kelly, and then maybe more popularized by Dr. Nicholas Gonzalez. And so I use these I don't use daily digestive enzymes in my cancer support protocols. I use proteolytic enzymes and I use fluorofilm 2 and 2 upon waking, but I'll use daily digestive enzymes actually with meals and then upon waking or before bed with people with psoriasis or eczema. All right. So hopefully that was helpful, and hopefully this was helpful to everyone here today. All the products that I talked about, all the labs, they're always over on Equilife. I know most people can't spell Equilife. I can't spell it either. I totally get it. We named it specifically like, getting your body into equilibrium in balance with the word life. I don't know. Maybe we were ahead of our time. It's equi.life. That's the website. The easy way to get there is just stevencabral.com/shop. All right. Take care, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow answering more of our Cabral House Calls. Take care. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything. Functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.